GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Tuesday, the 5th of November, 2024. It's election day in the US. It's the big day, the day we've been waiting for. Let's get straight into it. And taking a look at Bitcoin, we pulled back a little bit more last night. I actually drew this path in yesterday with you on the stream, and I talked about the fact that I think that Bitcoin is probably going to consolidate and chop sideways. We've come down a little lower than I expected in the short term, but Bitcoin has bounced back. And I really attribute this to the market starting to de-risk a bit ahead of the election results. So I think the market had probably priced in the Trump win, and now it's starting to say, well, hang on a minute. This is going to be a close race. It's still a two-horse race. Anything can happen on the election day. We've seen it many times in the past where we've seen election upsets. Obviously, the first Trump victory over Hillary Clinton was a big, big shock. We also had Brexit in the UK, where I'm from, which was a big surprise as well. So election shocks do happen when ultimately it's an event that is decided by public vote. How can you actually predict that with any certainty? It's very hard to. Polls can often be wrong. Betting markets can also often be wrong. So I think the market has just de-risked. And obviously, we saw some of the altcoins get hit pretty hard. Ethereum looked really, really ugly last night. And I was thinking to myself, God, like, do I really want to be holding leverage positions in Ethereum right now? Probably not. But I personally accept the risks of the election. And I know that if it is a Kamala victory, I'm expecting there will be some pretty ugly moves across the crypto markets. Bitcoin, but I think the worst of the moves will probably occur in the altcoins. They're probably going to get hit pretty hard. That being said, none of the charts are looking too good for alts anyway. So you just think to yourself, well, after the de-risking last night, how much further do these things actually fall? Like, is the market now pricing in Kamala winning? So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I think as long as you accept the risks, you've just got to say, look, this is potentially what can happen, and I accept it. Because if you're looking at this and you think to yourself, well, I'm hoping and praying for a certain outcome, and if you don't get that outcome, if that's really going to hit you hard and take you out, then you're probably better off de-risking. And I think a lot of people had that realization yesterday, and I think a lot of people that wanted to de-risk have now de-risked. So just looking at Bitcoin, obviously we're bouncing a bit here. Going on to Polymarket and just looking at the current election odds, we can see that obviously Trump has been the favorite. This is when Kamala got announced as the Democrat candidate. Obviously, she took the lead over Trump for a period of time, and it was very, very even. And then Trump has since pulled away. And if we just look at the odds over the last day, we can see that Trump did drop down to around about 56% implied chance. And now he is back up to 61.5%. So Trump seems to still have that momentum. He's popped up nicely since a day ago. And right now, I think the markets are probably repricing. I think we're going to see a lot of this where the market is repricing between a Kamala win and a Trump win based on how the votes come in and the voting goes. We should start to get the initial exit polls. I think it's from the first major states around about 1 o'clock in the morning GMT, so UK Portugal time. So I'm thinking it's going to be a long night. If we look at when Trump was announced in his first term, I think, or time he first became president, I think the announcement was around about 4 or 5 a.m. Again, UK time. I think Biden was, Obama was a similar kind of time. He was announced, I think, an hour before Trump was. So we might get an announcement tonight. it might also roll on several days, like the last election did when Biden was elected, and then there were challenges and things got contested. And I'm thinking, like, what is the worst case scenario? I think for me, the worst case scenario is probably a narrow Kamala win, where things are then challenged and there's contests and there's recounts. I think that would really cause so much uncertainty in the markets that we could see things bleed. And in that sort of scenario, probably it would be a worst case scenario of Bitcoin coming down to around the 60K level. I don't really see us going much lower than that on Bitcoin, but obviously this would cause a complete bloodbath to alts. Like I say, some of that might be priced in already. That outcome might already be slightly priced in, but I don't think anything can be fully priced in because it's just so uncertain, right? So that's probably the worst case scenario. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I'm still fairly confident that Trump does win. Hence, I've still got long exposure to obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and some altcoins as well. And I kind of think the most likely path, because obviously we have to go with the probabilities. We have to be aware of what the risk is, but we also have to trade with the probabilities. So the way I see it, I see us probably chopping over the next, again, this is not to scale, but let's go down to a 4 hour and see if we can actually sort of draw this path in a little bit more to scale. So I probably see the market consolidating sideways over the next few hours. Again, this is not to time scale, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of kind of where we go from here. Can we come down and retest that low? We probably can, but I would think it would need some momentum from Harris to kind of get us back down to this low or even beneath this low. So I kind of think the market is probably quite comfortable with where it is right now. Like I say, there's probably some up and down. I kind of think like throughout the night, so going into midnight and later, like after the polls of after the polling has closed and we start to get the initial polls in, if things are really strong for Trump, then I expect us to come back up, potentially up to around 71,000 fairly quickly. I think if things then sort of swing Harris's way, we might dip again, but let's just draw this one here. So we kind of sideways. I think we kind of come up, and then potentially people get overexcited and then realize it's not just going to be completely off to the races. But I do think if Trump's momentum does build, then it could be that throughout the course of the night, we then do push higher. And then I'd be looking at something like this happening, potentially a breakout as soon as tomorrow. And let's just move this one up as well. I think we can move up a lot sooner, is what I'm trying to say. So again, if we go down to an hourly, because I really want to do this to scale, so people can kind of see where we're going with this. Right. So where are we now? So Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So I think into the night, I think Wednesday, when those first polls are closing, we might start to come up from here. Then we might get a little bit of volatility. And then let's say Trump is announced tomorrow morning. Where would this be? So we need Wednesday midday. So I think we could get something like this. We could see a move up tomorrow, back towards all-time highs. And then we likely come down because obviously not a lot's going to change within a day, but obviously the market is going to start pricing in. We then come down, maybe we see some sort of flush, and then from there we start to move up over the course of the next week. And how high do we go? I think we probably break all-time highs. Then from there, we probably come back, retest, and then we go. So I think it will probably be something like this in terms of a short-term path, provided Trump does get elected, and the decision is quite a quick one, which I think right now is the most likely scenario. So let's leave that there. Let's see how this plays out. Going on to Ethereum quickly. Like I say, Ethereum was looking a little bit dicey last night. Being in Ethereum positions myself, I was starting to get a bit concerned by the break of this trend line, which I'd wanted to lean in on, but I had some orders down at this 618 fib retracement, and as soon as I saw the alerts and these were starting to get filled, I was like, whoa, like what's going on? Like I wasn't expecting these to get filled so quickly. I was expecting maybe this to break if well, during the election results, if Kamala was starting to show some positive momentum. So yes, obviously did get filled there. Right now, kind of in wait and see mode. Obviously, Ethereum's going to follow what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin responds well and Trump gets the win, I expect Ethereum to do really well, actually. That's why I'm still bullish and I'm still holding Ethereum longs here. Obviously, we could come down lower. I've got orders all the way down to 2,100 and this trend line in the event that we actually do start to break down. So I guess we could come as low as around the 20,000, the 2,000 mark on Ethereum. Solana, similar, wick down to around 155. I was actually looking to get filled around about 152, got front run. So Solana showing some strength in terms of bouncing here. And again, likely follows what Bitcoin does based on the election result. Dollar showing a little bit weakness. So we talked about looking for a top in dollar around this level with the Tom DeMark 9 around about the 618 golden pocket, and we are seeing a reaction in this area looking to break through the 200-day moving average to the downside. So that's fairly positive for risk assets, and certainly I think if Trump comes in, he's going to want to cut interest rates. He's going to probably remove Jay Powell as the Fed chair and put his own man in that is going to look to cut rates, get them low, stimulate growth. So it could be that the dollar comes off if Trump does get announced, and I think the stocks will do fairly well. Again, consolidating here, waiting for direction, waiting for a bit more certainty. Obviously, we've got the election result tonight, and then on Thursday is when we've actually got the FOMC rate decision. So you can see S&P's come down, currently holding the 50 MA on the daily as support. So yes, just going back to Bitcoin. So this is where we are. I am, just to summarize, I am fairly optimistic that Trump does win tonight and we get a quick decision. Hence, I'm expecting the low probably to already be in at this 66.8 area. And I'm expecting us to likely consolidate over the rest of today and start to grind higher as the results come in, with probably a sort of sharper move higher when Trump is announced, a pullback, and then a move to new all-time highs. I don't think Bitcoin will hang around too long if the news is a Trump victory. So I'm going to leave it there. Stay safe. Don't take on too much risk. Remember that there will be plenty of opportunities to get into the market after the decision today. So if you are currently on the sideline, I know for myself, I'm not looking to add to positions right now. I'm just waiting and seeing before adding any further. So take care out there. I hope everything goes your way personally in terms of where you're positioned. Obviously, I'm rooting for my own, victory that's going to help myself out. But yeah, obviously the campaigning's been done, the hard work's been done by the candidates, and now we see what happens with the result later on. And yes, I will be back again tomorrow to hopefully a portfolio that's nicely up. But I will obviously do the analysis in terms of whatever happens tonight, tomorrow morning. So see you then. Stay safe, take care, and GM.